Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Let's talk Deion Sanders. And I want to, in this video, I want to tell you guys why I believe Deion Sanders had to leave Jackson State University for the University of Colorado. Why he had to go, right? I'm a sports fan, I'm a money guy. But in this instance, money and sports intertwine. Okay. Whether Dion tells you it's about money or it's not about money, this is about money. Okay. This was about money. His move to Colorado had something to do with money. It may have not have been money for Dion, but it could have been money for his children or his assistant coaches and staff that he's bringing with him. There's a piece of this that makes it about money. But that's not necessarily why the only reason why Dion had to leave Jackson State for Colorado. I wanted to let some of the emotion kind of calm down before I begin to really have a conversation about this. But I want to look at this from a more logical standpoint. So I want to push the emotion to the side a little bit. And I'll talk about some of the emotion and why it's there, especially for African Americans, right? So, first of all, I want to say that I understand both sides of this argument, right? There's one side of the argument that says Dion is a coach, and this is what coaches do. Coaches leave to go to schools to get better opportunities all day, every day. Then there's the other side of that equation from an African American standpoint, where you got black people that are saying, listen, Dion, you sold us on this prosperity talk that you were there at Jackson State University to God had called you and this was a calling. And, we get it. We drank that Kool Aid and then you just up and left, right? Like every Black American, Black person who gets an opportunity to make more money, you left us high and dry. You left the community. You left the culture. You left Black people hanging. This is what some one side of the equation is really saying. And they're saying that, hey, from entertainers to educators to doctors and lawyers, singers, you name it, every profession, when they get an opportunity to make more money down, they always leave the Black community. Yeah, Dion, you was bringing attention, and you was bringing the best players. You was bringing the spotlight, the limelight. You were bringing in new students, new recruits, all the fans, and you was packing the house and the stadium. The excitement. It was new money, new ideas, new fortune. A renewed sense of pride and culture in HBCUs. Dion, you was bringing all that. I get that side of the equation. I understand that argument, which it's a little bit emotional, but it's an argument nevertheless, and it could and should be respected. I understand that argument that, we don't typically, build where we are as African Americans. We typically would rather go ask for an opportunity somewhere, beg for an opportunity or ask for an opportunity somewhere else instead of building where we are. I get that. And I see that. I understand that side of this equation. I really, really do understand it, right? But here is what we have to understand as African Americans. And here is what we have to understand about this situation. When you get all of that stuff out the way, when you get all of that, those ideas out the way about how you feel and how you're upset that Deion Sanders left and how you're upset that he didn't stay and build like he said he would stay and build, and or like you felt he should have stayed and built. Once you get all of that stuff out of the way and push that to the side, that emotion and that sentiment and all those facts, at the end of the day, we have to understand one thing. Deion Sanders is a football coach. Deion Sanders is one man. Deion is not a he's not something that we don't think he is. Deion is not a spokesman. He's not a savior. He's not anything more than a former athlete turned coach. We have to understand that. And so your whatever you thought Dion was, whatever you thought Dion was going to bring, whatever you felt like in your emotion and your spirit and your soul, and you just really want, none of that really matters at the end of the day. A revolution, a renaissance, a turnaround is not going to be fought or won or televised by an athlete or by a former athlete or by a coach, a football coach, a college football coach. It's not going to be won. It's not going to be fought. It's not going to be won by a football coach. Deion is just a football coach, right? In the athletic world and all over the world, sports is run and controlled and based on and foundationally rest upon one thing. That one thing is money. Okay. Whether you want to say it's not about the money and it's more deeper than the money, at the end of the day, Dion is just a coach. And Dion, typically, like every other coach, when he's given the opportunity to make more money, to have a bigger spotlight, to get better players, to win bigger games, he's going to take that opportunity. This decision was not about HBCUs. It was not about the culture. It was not about African Americans. This decision was about Dion and Dion's family and Dion's legacy and Dion's place in the world, not as an HBCU person, not as being SWAC or not being SWAC. It's not about any of that. It's not about any of that. It's about Dion as a football coach, winning football games and wanting to compete at the highest level. It wasn't about the black culture and the HBCUs and about black people and African. It wasn't about that for Dion. And that's one thing that we really have to take a step back and begin to understand and begin to process on a logical level. As much as we'd like to think this wasn't about the money, and to people that wasn't involved, it may not have been about the money. It's about the culture, but to the actual person that was making the actual decision, money played a large role. I don't care who you are. When you go from making in your own personal life, you're making $35,000 today, and then you go to make $600,000 with a new job, about 15 times more, which is about what his salary was, $300,000 at Jackson State. And apparently, from many stories, he was giving some of that back to help build things up and help some of the infrastructure and so forth. But in his case, he went from 300,000 now to 5 million, with potentially to go to 7 million with some incentives, right? So my thing is, if you go from 30,000, $35,000 at your job and somebody offers you $600,000 and then you turn around and say it's not about the money does play a part because he has to pay some of these assistants, and he wants these assistants to get paid who have walked with him since he was coaching Pee Wee, right? In the world where Dion has grown up since he was a high school football player, to a college in Florida, to a college football player at Florida State, to a coach, a little league coach in Dallas or in Dallas, Texas, to coaching his kids in middle school, all the way up through coaching them in high school, and not getting some of the bigger opportunities to go some of the bigger colleges and bring his kids there, but then getting an opportunity at Jackson State. Throughout all those times, he had certain guys with him, around him, certain staff and assistant coaches that he wants to help them get paid. He could not get them paid at Jackson State. Guess what? Now he can. That's not really the money for Dion, but it's the money for his people. Okay. Dion, the other thing to keep in mind about Dion is this: Dion had to go because Dion believes that Dion needs the best facilities. Dion believes Dion needs the best water, the best this, the best that. Now, listen, we know what he did in the SWAC, right? 3 years, 3 seasons. He was there 2 years, but he was there 3 seasons. And the last 2 seasons, he won the championships in his conference. Then this year, he went 12-0 and again won the championship. He did about as much as he could do with what he had. Now, if he wants to go compete on another level and bring his football playing sons to his teams, now he's going to have to do it at a higher level, and we know he can because look what he did on that level, on a low on I won't say a lower level, but look what he did without the facilities, without the money and the infrastructure that he had there. So we know he can do it. But Dion believes that in order to compete against the USCs, in order to compete against the University of Utahs or Washington or whatever, he's going to need a bigger platform, and he really wants to see his children on a bigger platform, right? So all these things point to the fact that this is about Dion. No matter what takes place at Jackson State in the SWAC, It's never going to be what Dion considers to be top of the line for Dion, right? So we got to keep that in mind and look at that from that perspective. So in that, with that said, hey, Dion had to leave. Now, think about it like this, guys. If it was Tom Brady coaching at Central Methodist College somewhere, making $300,000 a year, and he went to take a job at like University of Nebraska, would we be down on Tom Brady because he went and got that and went and upgraded in terms of his mind what he should be doing and the highest levels and had kids and he wants to play at a higher level? Or would we understand it because, so I don't want to hold Dion to necessarily a different standard because Dion again is a football coach at the end of the day. They don't call Dion prime time or coach prime, or we used to call him Neon Dion. They don't call him that for nothing. And can he be Neon Dion at Jackson State? He was. But Neon Dion believes Neon Dion needs bigger lights, brighter lights, bigger stage, more money. He wants, needs, likes, thrives for the spotlight. It's what he does, it's who he is, it's in his DNA. Dion used to dance before he got to the end zone. He would, intercept the pass, and before he get to the end zone, he's showing up. He's dancing. He's Dion, and he needs that spotlight. Now he gets a chance to get his longtime assistants who started with him back in the day. He gets them raises. He gets to change 20 other guys' family tree. Right now, he gets to put his kids and his talents and his assistants' talents on display on the national spotlight. Now again, I understand why couldn't he just stay and build at the HBCU? That's the emotional part of me saying I wish he had stayed. But then there's the logical side of me that says Dion is a football coach, right? I understand why is every black person who's unique and they have this wonderful talent, whether it's a singer, whether it's a dancer, whether it's a whatever doctor, lawyer, whatever it may be, entertainer, football, basketball. Why are they always for sale? They always have a price. Then I got to step back and say, wait a minute. He's an athlete. He's a coach. He's been in the sports world and the entertainment world his entire life, right? You hear entertainers all the time on get mad about the Grammys and mad about the Academy Awards. But guess what? You look up and they're right in the audience accepting an award, right? They protested. Why aren't they giving more African American? Next thing you know, they're right there accepting the Grammy and shaking hands at the Academy Awards and the Globe Awards, whatever, shaking hands, smiling, etc. This is where Dion come from. He's not an entertainer necessarily, but he is sort of an entertainer, but in an athletic way, right? Dion wants to be the best, so he feels like he has to compete against the best at an elevated place. Those are his words. He said sometimes as a coach, you either get terminated or elevated. He was saying, hey, I'm not getting terminated from Jackson State, but I'm elevating from Jackson State. That's what he told his players at Jackson State. Dion wants to take care of his bottom line is this. Dion had to go. He had to leave. He had to leave. He wants to take care of his family and his kids and set them up for life financially. Set them up, give his kids an opportunity, his sons that play football, an opportunity to shine on a brighter stage. He wanted to give his assistants more money. He wanted to do all these things, help all these people, and he wanted to put Dion where Dion believes he can shine the brightest. So I think there'll be more to come out about this story about exactly why he left JSU. I'm hearing rumblings about some issues with financial issues they were having in terms of money and so forth. I don't want to talk too much about those things on this quick video because they're just rumors at this point. I don't know how true they are, and I don't want to spread rumors. But let's remember that Dion's a competitor at the highest level, and he's a football coach. He's not Martin Luther King, right? He's a football coach, and he's there for football, right? Bottom line also is this, guys. There's a lot of great coaches out there, black coaches, African American coaches that would be more than happy to come in and continue what Dion did at Jackson State. Let's not take away any of this. Let's not take anything away from what Dion did at Jackson State. and what he brought to Jackson State and the notoriety and the limelight and the things that the spotlight he put on HBCUs in his short 3 seasons at that university. Okay, so we don't want to take any of that away. So I understand both sides of this issue. I understand Dion. I wish he would have stayed, and I wish, and it would have been nice to see them try to build and work and build that HBCU. But there's a lot of us out here that aren't building and building HBCUs and not contributing to HBCUs and not pushing HBCUs. There's a lot of people out here that don't give a dime to HBCUs. Dion gave 3 seasons, 2 championships, an undefeated season, and a lot to JSU. And JSU in turn gave him the opportunity as well. So we got to understand there's 2 sides of this equation, and let's try to understand both moving forward. But in my personal opinion, Dion, for Dion's sake, he had to leave Jackson State for the University of Colorado. Hey, listen, drop me a comment. Let me know what you think about this. Do you believe that he had to leave Jackson State for another top school, a school that's in the Power Five? Do you believe he had to leave? Drop that comment below. And listen, subscribe if you're not a subscriber. We talk money, we talk real estate, and we talk also personal finances and the effects of money and the economy on this channel. Hey, the best person to take care of the old you is the young you. Do me a favor, take care of yourself, guys, and always, always, no matter what, take care of other people. Until the next video, peace.